Yeah, I wanted to touch on that too, because I do have like part I wanted to touch on, because the reason we did start interacting on Twitter was because of the whole, I want to say, Aunt Jemima thing you tweeted about, where you were you tweeted like, wait, they canceled Aunt Jemima and there's still racist stuff going on,
I can't believe it.
Right, and you like tweeted back, man. I even said, I was like, listen, as a white person from the outside looking in, all I could see is this. And you mentioned that you used to be on one side and you kind of did like a 180, and now you're fighting older white women about how black you are. And like, how do you deal with that? And what made you switch, if you don't mind talking about that?
Yeah, no, I don't mind it at all. I think more people need to start talking about it, especially as comedians. Like, I don't know when, like, artists started biting their tongues, like, and why. We were the ones that were supposed to be outspoken about, you know, these things. And it just shifted completely. And it's just a shame, because there are people that I respect, or used to respect, I should say, that I'm just like as comedy peers, and I'm just like, why are you so closed-minded and just not open to even having conversations about these things? But yeah, I used to be on the left. I used to be on, like, not like hardcore left, but because I've always been somewhat a little bit conservative with my values and views. But I you know, just, it was identity politics. I was like, oh, I'm black, so I must, like, I can't be over there because they're the ones that everyone, they're the racist ones. And I don't blame 100%. I don't blame all the liberals for the way that they think. I mean, I blame them in that they need to start searching other places for their information, because you have complete control over that. But, you know, if you're a person that watches mainstream media all the time and you keep hearing this narrative of how evil one side is, and that's all you hear, that's what you believe. And that's where I was. And I knew, I mean, I'm a huge, like, conspiracy person. Like, I've gone down all the rabbit holes. I don't believe a lot of them, but I do believe a lot of them. And I have always known that mainstream media manipulates. I did know that, but even knowing that, like, I still got lost in that whole, this is what, I'm black, I need to believe this, I need to vote for this person, I need to be, you know, this, or I'm a sellout, I'm a coon. And yeah, I woke up during the pandemic, which is, I was hoping most people would have woken up during the pandemic, because you had time to be at home and do some actual research. But a lot of people are still asleep.
What did it though? Because the pandemic's only been a year. Was it like a tweet someone sent you? Was it? Did you watch something on a media network and like, fuck this, like, I'm out?
Yeah, no, I went on YouTube. So I have a friend who we've always talked about conspiracy theories together, but there were certain conspiracies that she was aware of that she had never, like, mentioned to me. And because she was like, I didn't think you were ready. And I'm like, I'm always I'm always ready, okay? And so I called her over to my house, and we had this thing called Conspiracy Thursday, where we would just go on YouTube. And this was before all the censorship started happening. This was like right before they started pulling down conservative views from YouTube and other social platforms. And so we would just start going down all these rabbit holes. And there was one particular video that made me just be like, oh, snap. And it was the Trump video where, you remember how when the Charlottesville, when it was he was saying there are good people on both sides. Right. And I saw the full length of the video on YouTube where he says specifically, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. Right. I'm talking about, you know, the good people on that side that just want to protect the statues for whatever, for history purposes or whatever. And I saw that video and I was like, I knew the media manipulates, and I knew they're capable of, you know, of putting out information like that to skew it towards their narrative. But in that moment, I was like, I wonder what else have they manipulated that Trump has said? And I was like, oh, and then I just started going, and I saw more and more and more. And I was like, I'm not a Trump supporter either. I'm just a person. I'm in the middle. Like, I'm just like, I don't trust either one of these sides. I know what's really going on, that they pit us against one another so that we don't fight the real enemy, which is, you know, the elites,
them,
working class.
Yeah.
And that's
Zim.
You know what these people should start doing, and like everybody should do this. Just for your speeches, create an OnlyFans account. Don't let anyone have it for free, because then they can't manipulate it.
That's true.
Everyone's got to pay for it if you want to see it.
Yeah.
So are you talking to me, Brian? I should create one?
No, not
Definitely.
you. Nobody wants to know what you're saying.
No one cares what you have to say.
I just got a job at the Improv, man. I did comedy once before that, like an open mic, but I got dared. But I just got a job at the Improv in Tempe, Arizona, and then I just started. Those other fools were doing it. Oh, open mics, just amateur shit, but we watched it every weekend. We wanted to open, So I just started. They thought I was funny with them, and they just like, you should do it with us. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I started fucking doing it here and there, real slow. Like it's just a different ballgame than like now.
Right.
But you're scared to go certain places. You'll go to only one place or this place, because you're comfortable. That's what you've done. But I just started working at the Improv, bro, and I started really liking it. And I got some laughs. And then that was a wrap. That's all I wanted to do.
Did you do well early, like right off the bat?
You know what? I was lucky because I had a lot of friends. I worked at a bar, and then that was really popular at Arizona State at the time. So I had a shitload of people that would come. So they laughed no matter what because they're my homies.
Yeah,
so it really made me feel like I was like, wow, man, I'm really coming. I'm going to give the motherfucking year, dude.
Yep.
But my shit I was dog shit, But luckily they patted me and I guess it's like equivalent to like a boxer, getting like those first 10 pro fights or whatever, just like layups just to get pad his record.
Yeah.
That's what my friends did. They padded my record early, and then I got knocked out the first round of the pros when I fought a real fighter.
Yeah. That's good that your friends are supportive. A lot of friends root for each other to fail. So
someone was hoping I bombed, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
But I used to get a party bus. This bar I worked at, they had like the owners had made a shit ton of cash in these bars. So he bought like an old 80s RV and he pimped it out. And it was like just for employees to reserve, and all you had to do, there was a guy that drove it, and all you had to do was tip the driver, but you just had to request it like a week out or whatever.
Cool.
And I would just get it, and I would put a keg on it or some shit, and I would just get like 30 or 50, 60 people on it. I'd be like, I got all week long at the bar. I would just be telling people.
Nice.
And then on the day of the show, I'd roll in with a fucking party bus with like 50 or 60 people on it.
That's fucking awesome.
And then if it was a contest, I'm crushing, and I'm winning, Or I'm getting, one of the finalists, so I always moved on,
Yeah, you knew how to market yourself and audience before you were even big, man. That's fucking
that's just work. That's that bar life, and it was really close knit. There was like 10 or 15 bars that all knew each other, kind of,
Yeah.
Plus the regulars and all the students. Nobody left that area. It's like Tempe and Rule area right there, up to Rule and Mill. If you know anything about Arizona State and Phoenix, that area, that's like the ASU made area. Well, not now. A lot of changes, but before there used to be a ton of bars. And I just, I never even went out with anybody. I just go out by myself, just get hammered. And I knew all the bartenders because they all, that's the biggest perk when you bartend in like a scene. Other people come to your bar, you go to their bar. Nobody pays. You just tip.
That's fucking awesome. I got into the wrong line of work. Jeez.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what. I still drank a shitload, just as much as everybody else, except I was making money instead of spending it.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like a good fucking investment.
I'm not saying that's the route you want. I'm not like, it's just hey, if you want to do it, well, it's just a little bit. I mean, I still had to mop and shit, but I got paid to get lit instead of how,
You were wasted mopping like this.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I did some dumb shit at the end. When I started to really not give a fuck, I really.
Can you tell a story or no?
One time I was looking at this nightclub in Santa Monica, like one of my last bar jobs. It was probably like in 2006 or 7 or 8, and it was this nightclub. In the early evening, it was a dine-in dark restaurant. This cool ass blind homie had this concept in the back room. It's called dining in the dark. So you just go in there with your date. You pick fish, chicken, or beef, and this guy walks you in there, and it's pitch ass black, dark. So you just go in there, and it's supposed to you're supposed to like have your other senses take over when you're on the meal experience or whatever. It was just cool shit though, and but then they would move all that shit out of the way. I mean, at the end of the day, you turn the lights on, it looked crappy. It looked like it was just some tables and some chairs, like nothing nice in there because it was fucking in the dark. Like no one cares what it looks like. You just got to sit down. And so they'd move all that stuff out of the way. And then at night it was a nightclub, and on one night of New Year's we got hammered, and I was like already asleep before the place was closed. And I was supposed to be bar backing, and they wake me up, and he's like, you know, you got to fucking come finish, dude. So I'm out there hammered, finishing my job. And then at some point during the night, they had all these like nightclub ottomans, dude. They must have had 50 of them they didn't never use. And so I was just hammered. I'm like, I need one of these in my apartment, man. So like drunk as shit, almost blacked out. I grabbed this right in the middle of like New Year's Eve party at this club. I take this thing out the back, and then I take it to my car, and I put it in the back seat of my car, right? And I cover it up with clothes. And then I'm like, well, I can't leave my car here. I got to move my car down the street, dude. So in case the owner don't come out and see it with the fucking, see me with his ottoman, and I get let go for stealing an ottoman, and I'm almost blacked out. So I move my car around the corner down the street, and then I get off work like 3 hours later or whatever. And I forgot I moved my car, and I forgot I stole the stupid ass ottoman. So I'm calling the cops. You know, my car's stolen, man. I gotta get... And the cop's like, nah, dude, your car ain't stolen, bro. You're hammered, and it's New Year's, dude. You just don't know where it's at. He goes, it's probably a good thing, because you sound like you shouldn't be driving anyways, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my fucking car's stolen, dude. I would know if I moved my car, then I'd work all night, asshole.
You see these polls coming out, and like, let's say, Biden up 59 to 41. I've never gotten called for a fucking poll. You know what I mean?
Because you don't have a home phone.
That's true. That's
Home phones.
And you don't have Alzheimer's.
That's well, yeah.
Yeah, they call during the day and they call home phones.
Yeah, but like
And
you know
people
what I'm
with
saying?
Alzheimer's.
They have these like I know who I'm gonna call to make my numbers look good. And what you said though, I love what you said about the people who only agree with the people who like they hang out with all they agree with. They don't see a conservative mind. We're fortunate enough in our group of friends, like half of them are like one way, the other half are the other. So we all hang out together and have different.
Wait, Scott, listen to what you just fucking said.
What?
Group of friends.
Oh, you're right.
These guys don't have groups of friends.
Right.
And so
they're all social misfits who maybe just get together and become misfits as one. Is that what you're saying?
And listen, I'm gonna say this live on camera, and I don't give a fuck. Nobody could cancel me. I don't have a Netflix deal. They don't seem very masculine. They don't seem very manly to me. These guys don't look like they've ever fucking lost a meaningful sports game in their childhood. They look like they all quit soccer after the ball hit their face. You know what I mean? Like, these guys look like they give you those vibes, bro. Yeah. And it's like, I'm wondering if this is an attack on masculinity, like the nerds strike back through that sense, and also attack on fucking ideology. It's almost a get back on a lot of shit, because it's like, you know, this seems Silicon Valley-ish. This doesn't seem user-based. This seems very tech-oriented. Explain to me something. I feel like I took the conversation to another place, and I apologize for that. Hopefully it's a good place.
It's fine. I kind of got body slammed on my whole Joey Diaz thing, so we can move on from that.
I'm gonna let him know you said he got allegations, but I'm fucking.
Oh, I did not mean it like that. You guys know what I meant.
We kept the files loaded.
All right.
So Joe gets $100 million Spotify deal. Spotify's a tech company. By the time that shit's been announced, they're already going at pot. They're trying to comedy's being attacked now. Comedians are being attacked, and it's being politicized, and all of that. They're going after masculine men, bro. Like Chris D'Elia is the most feminine, masculine guy ever. But
it's so weird, right? He comes off so feminine, but he just has this masculinity.
He has a masculine presence. To the tech world, he's like The Rock. You know what I mean? To to us, he's like the nerdy guy who might get dirty in a football game with us. You know what I mean? We're like, Chris.
I might throw him the ball on 3rd and 4,
Yeah.
maybe.
And on 1st and deep.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get
Hey, go! It's like the Bill. It's like wow, this is going full circle. It's like the Bill Cosby skit. Odd that came up. Remember when he just says he says you just go long. It's that one friend.
Got you. Yeah. He seems like the guy you might throw him the pass like on 1st down, and then he looks at Chris to catch it. But Chris, but what I'm saying is even that is more like you put Chris D'Elia in a room full of those guys. He's the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys can't out-talk him. They're not sharper than him. They can't get girls in person. If those guys brought their girls in a bar, Chris D'Elia will walk home with them and do all the shit Joey Diaz was saying he was doing in the video. And,
well, actually, they wouldn't be allowed in the bar, according to.
They wouldn't walk into the bar unless it was a fucking webcam bar.
Yeah.
But like, these are the people who are creating the platforms that people are using to cancel. And I find it so convenient, utterly commodious, that I'm using words, that fucking they're going after these type of men, and they're going after free thinking, freedom of speech shit. They've been doing freedom of speech shit, right?
So they're not going after like, and I like the guy as a comedian. They're not going after like the Chris Gethards of the world.
No,
right?
no, not at all. But what's the fat guy? What's the fat boy that does his fucking podcast with his wife? That Bill Burr was like annihilating him.
Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, Tom Segura.
No, not Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer. He's another one. He's real geeky fat dude that does it with his wife, and he also reviews all these old videos and shit. I think it's called like the HD something podcast. It's like it has like a name, Hi-Fi or some shit. Like, and he hosts it with his wife. You guys don't know? Bill Burr annihilated the guy for like an hour, but he's this really soft, kind of seemingly harmless kind of dude with a skinny foreign wife. They look very like polite and agreeable on many things, and they just kind of they comment on things. They're not criticizing things. They don't have good outside viewpoints. The shit that's being attacked, look at these people that are being attacked. These are all people that have these traits. That shit seems it seems weird. And here's the thing. I read a book called End of America by Naomi Wolf. Great book. And yes, Scott, read a book for fucking
when they make a movie of it, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
When they put it in net. Oh, you know what, Scott? I watch it when it's in Netflix suggestions and it's number 1 in the world. That's when like, I gotta watch this.
That's not true. I didn't like the Outer Banks. I thought it was shit. This always turns into shitting on me. I hate this.
Because it's the best target. Yeah, you are the easy target.
Because that's the algorithm when we're on here.
I know. I even have my face on my sweater. I mean, like.
Well, algorithm. That's why you're getting shit on. Like, that's the main reason.
Do you want this? Ollie, do you want one of these?
Scott, drink your beer. Just drink your beer. You're just staring at it. It's getting warm. You're going to drink warm beer, bro. This isn't an episode of Cheers, bro.
I imagine when you were a kid, going out to do these things, there had to have been some level of fear, regardless of how prepared you are for anything you're doing. And I feel like this goes for anyone. There is a level of fear. So how did you kind of work through that and go to do these things?
He started drinking at a young age.
Oh, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, man, fear was, you learn about fear and you learn to face it, look it in the eyes. I still cope with it quite a bit, just like in everyday stuff. And I like to scare myself a lot. I just think it just kind of makes me like feel the most alive. I think, well, there's fear in which, like, I think on these mountains for the most part, like it was very rare instances where I was like actually scared for my life. One of those obviously like being, there was and this goes into a whole different story. Being on Mount Everest, we were roughly like 2.5 weeks into the climb. And in between camps at one point, we were crossing over and traversing across like the only glacial point. Like the rest of the mountain was going to be like mostly exposed ridgeline and winds, in which, like, you know, weather is kind of like more your enemy up there. This point, we actually had to deal with more unpredictable forces, such as like shifting glaciers and ice and all this different stuff. That's, you know, entirely why we avoided going on the south side of Mount Everest, where you see the where you cross over the Khumbu Icefall, which is a constantly moving and shifting glacier that just is so unpredictable and is just such a horrible place to be in. So that being said, that's why we chose the north side, but there's still a little bit of a section where you have to cross over that. And I remember it so vividly. Like it was a super, super hot day. I mean, it was probably like 40 degrees, but like that's so hot up there, you know, like you're down to your, you know, base layers and fleece and whatnot. And I remember crossing by two people, because we followed this fixed rope on the way up, basically, and so we got to kind of unclip and reclip back into like these like in between anchors, essentially, in which this rope is kept in, to kind of put it simply. And so you cross paths with some people, obviously, and you kind of got to unclip and just kind of like make way for them and whatnot. So I remember crossing two people, just simply said hi, and then after continuing on for probably like, you know, 8 more minutes or so, I remember my dad just kind of like having this instinctual thing to say, and was like, hey man, or just kind of like told our team, like, hey guys, we should probably pick up the pace a little bit. Like, I don't have a great feeling about, like, we just need to get out of this zone as quickly as possible, because up to our left, as we were kind of traversing across this area, up to our left was this absolutely gigantic, what seemed just like a massive commercial building, just full on, like it was just like huge, and just like we were in the shadow of it, and it was just like one of the most daunting things to like kind of see in a way, and also just one of those things that's just like you just didn't have a good feeling being there. So after, like, you know, about 2 more minutes after that, I kid you not, man, it was like I don't know what's the best way to probably to try to describe it. It's like it was almost like being in a bombing scenario, which was like, it's kind of crazy to describe it like that, but like all of a sudden you just feel this like huge booming noise that is just like, you can just feel it in like all of your nerves, and just like all of your, you know, it's like a deafening boom almost. And then you just see, like, right above you, all of a sudden you just see like chunks and slabs of ice just coming down and collapsing, and then all of a sudden you see it collapse, and then all of a sudden you see this cloud of white smoke and snow just kind of rushing towards you, like faster than you can even react. Like, you can't even count to 3 fast enough. Like, you just like are like, okay, whatever happens. And so I mean, that was an event that really tested fear for me, and I think it was just like a moment in which I was like, yeah, whatever happens, but we'll see where we end up, and then kind of work from there. But at the same time, it's like, I could be dead, who knows? It's like kind of one of those things that you just like can only fight so much.
Yeah.
Luckily the dust settles, I'm buried up to my abdomen basically in all this snow. My dad is roughly like 1 or 2 feet behind me, not far at all. And then one of our Sherpa guides, Lama Karma Sherpa, he's right behind us, or right behind him. And I'm just trying to remember, like, I see my dad get up, and all of a sudden I just noticed this red spot on, he was wearing like a green toque or like a beanie, and he had this red spot. And I was kind of confused. Like, I didn't notice it until like a little bit later after that. We were just so focused on, like, we were just so full of adrenaline. We just like needed to get up and get out. And so the second half of our team, I mean, it was only 6 of us. So the other 2 or 3 were just right above us, like probably about 100 yards or so. We go link up with them. And I see my dad. I'm like, Dad, like, what happened right here? He's like, dude, your crampons literally went right into my forehead. If you don't know what a crampon is, it's like the spiky, it's like this attachment that you clamp to the bottom of your boot in order to like keep you stable on like firm snow and ice. And so these were like brand new, razor sharp. And then one had fully like gone into his skull and like punctured like a pretty big wound. And then I didn't notice until later because we were all like just so, you know, livid off of adrenaline. And then we finally get up to camp 2 and then, or get up to camp 1. And then, you know, my dad shows me, he like opens these like little holes in his pants and he shows me like on both of his thighs, both my crampons went into and punctured like both his thigh muscles. I didn't even have words. I was like, I know that sorry is not going to be enough here. And I knew he would, you know, how can you be mad at that, you know, in that kind of situation? But still, I was just like, I don't even know what to say here.
I played the, you know, go out, you know, try to get a deal. I did that. That's how I ended up on Showtime. That's how I ended up on that stupid fucking show.
I want to ask you about that. Yeah, how'd that happen? Because you were around before the 8 Mile boom happened, right? That's the sort of 8 Mile boom. So like the late 90s you were doing it, and then 8 Mile hit. And at that point you battled, were you like, all right, a door opened, let's go? Was that like your reaction?
At first, then it got fucking crazy. Everything just became battle. You know, it was like really getting cheesy kind of.
Yeah.
Because that's when the MTV battle happened. That's when like, you know, the corporations started getting their hands on it, which can be good and bad all at once. You know, it can get a lot of money thrown your way, but it can also, you know, pigeonhole you into like a cheesy commercial event like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where, you know, like the Showtime battle, that was random, dude. It was, how'd that happen? They were stuck for a New York artist, right? And I think they reached out to Technique actually. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I can't do that. I got a record out. I'm like, he was starting to, that's like when he was starting to pop off a little bit, like starting to really get big in the underground. And he's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, let me ask, Diabolic might do it. He's like, yeah, I'll ask him. And he called me up and asked me if I was interested in doing it. I said, all right, I'll try. Let me talk to the dude. This dude, Todd One, who had a terrible record out back in the day, if you look him up. He was a cool guy, though. He was a nice guy. He was a producer for Showtime at the time.
Todd One.
Yeah. He had like one of those kind of cheesy jock jam, like weird records out way back when. You look him up, you'll see what I mean. He called me up and was like, oh, yeah, you know, fucking, we're doing the show. He explained a little bit about it, what it would be. And he was like, you know, you came highly recommended. I hear you battle this, that, and the third. And he's like, when I spit something over the phone, he was like, whoa, all right. 3 days later, a fucking production crew showed up in a van with cameras, getting out of the car with cameras, starting to film me in front of my fucking house. What the fuck is this? You know? It's like, what is going on here? Which is crazy because I didn't fit their mold when I did it. I was already doing shit. Yeah. Like, I was in the studio. You don't see it on the fucking show. If you obviously you can't even look that show up anymore. But when you watched it, like, I was in the studio with Smooth the Hustler, and they were filming us. We were doing a record. Yeah. And they didn't put any of that on. They cut all that shit out because it made me look too established.
Established, yeah.
Yeah. So they cut all that out. They didn't tell me they didn't tell you who you were battling. They didn't tell you nothing. And then it was fucking very weird, like the event itself, because I killed that girl.
That's what I want to get into, Diabolic. I watched Marv 1 Pat Stay, where Pat Stay lost, I don't know how. I've watched battles for the last 15 years, and 17 years later, that is the biggest hose job in a battle I've ever fucking seen.
Dude, I bodied her.
Yes.
Like,
to where I got in an argument with my friend Albert I remember leaving because we watched it. It was like a Saturday night, and you had this one line, you couldn't spit tight shit if your ass had vice grips or something like that, I remember. And you murdered her, and I was like, what the fuck were the judges thinking? Like,
well, this is the thing, right? This was funny because it was kind of a setup. It was kind of a setup. Like, they had a plan. They didn't expect me to do that. They didn't expect me to be good. They didn't expect me to fucking rip her like that. So they were trying not, like, we both got X amount of people that were allowed to come with us. And then they had a small crowd surrounding. It wasn't that big. There was probably 75, 100 people around us to make it look like that, right? And then it was crowd judged. And it was mad even. Like the crowds were just both yelling, you know? And the fucking producer, this lady Jillian Fleer, who's a fucking kook, she holds up a sign for Dougie Fresh to say that the girl won.
Wow.
For him to read, you know, like she held it up from behind. They had like this little tent with all the soundboards and the production shit. It was pretty fucking funny. It was kind of a setup.
Did you see the sign?
Yeah. You can see it. Like it was right there.
Who's more surprised,
I was like, what the fuck? And
who was more surprised, you or the girl? Was she like, I won? Are you
well, she knew who I was.
Oh,
she knew who I was. She used to go to EOW, end of the week. They all know me over there. Like, when they found out she was battling me, all of them were like, oh, fuck. They knew who I was. They were like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is who they bring out, right?
Yeah.
And fucking, but they offered me another show that I turned down. They wanted me to go around the country and battle random people.
Ew.
Yeah.
Like just random people in random hoods and shit. Like they basically are, hey, you're in Nebraska. Guy, we want to bring you to random ghettos around the fucking country and have you battle the black people.
We'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll just drop you off.
Right.
The roughest
I battled
areas
that
in
one
America.
kid on the Staten Island ferry. So they saw I wasn't scared to battle. I battled that one kid. I murked him too. And fucking I was like, that's fucking corny. I'm good. I'm good on all.
That might be the most dangerous job you could do. Let's drop you off in the worst areas in America and talk shit to random strangers.
I mean, it would have been interesting, but it's like, it's just kind of corny. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, they want you to become fucking Simon Rex or something, you know?
Yeah.
Go out there and act like a fucking dick. We're going to dress you up in silly outfits, you know?
Well, you don't have to say you don't have to say how much, but would the money have been good? Would it have been worth it? Would they cover, like, how would it go? You on a tour bus, they flying you out?
I don't know. This shit was pretty low budget from what I saw. I got $500 for that show.
Jeez.
Not that we were supposed to get paid. They just sent us like they sent me in the mail like a $500 check randomly. Like we weren't supposed to get paid. We all signed a fucking horrible record deal. Which they tried. It was an Interscope record deal. It was horrible.
Yeah. I remember. Didn't Spitfire win that? If I recall, Spitfire.
He did
right?
From LA.
Yeah.
I wonder whatever happened to him. I've looked for him on the internet. I never found him though.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah.
Maybe they offered him the show and
he battle rapped in the wrong area. Wow.
You know who else? Nestle was on there.
Yeah.
Nestle was on there. Yeah.
Good.
And what's his name? Quest McCody.
Quest McCody, yeah, he's still around. He battled in the WRCs.
They did have some legit talent on there.
Yeah.
Spitfire was cool. Me and him got fucking wasted out at LA at the release party. Because I took the $500 and I bought a couple flights with it. Me and Poison Pen went out there. Jeez. And fucking I got fucking drunk as shit with Kid from Kid and Play at the party.
Wow.
He was like a fan. He was like, yo, he came up to me and he was like, he had a bald head now, shaved his eraser head off. He was like, he's a producer for Showtime. That's what he does now. And he comes up and he's like, yo, whatever you do, don't let these motherfuckers change you. That's what he says to me. He's getting hammered. He's fucking wasted, you know? And he's like, don't let them change you. He's like, I'm telling you, you're nice as fuck. They're going to try to change you. Get the fuck out of here as fast as you can.
Get out of here.
He's like, just get out of here. You'll be fine. Trust me.
They're going to try to put you in House Party 6. You need to leave.
I would have done that shit. He was like, yo, you want to do House Party 6? I'd be like, hell fucking yes. Let's do it.
Little thing, Class Act was a better movie than all the house parties. Just throw it
I like
out
all, but Class Act's one of my favorites.
Class Act is phenomenal. Blade Brown, fucking
Duncan Pinderhughes and shit.
Pinderpiss. Yeah, phenomenal movie. So underrated. So fucking under. Eric, you ever see that?
Hell yeah, it's my
Didn't expect to be called out, but no.
Oh, you gotta get yourself baked tonight and watch Class Act.
I got a to-do list tonight.
Yeah. I know we're skipping. I know we're gonna skip some time here, like so, because I know you released a couple albums. I don't know if you want to touch on it. I actually posted your diss to Talib Kweli back like 4 years ago, and I feel like you've been the ambassador for like white rappers who kind of get shit on for like taking advantage or being culture vultures. And like, how did Talib Kweli and you, and I know Don Cheadle got involved too, and you were like, yeah, you go. I love you in traffic, but stay the fuck out of it, or something like that.
I look like Don
I posted
Cheadle.
this fucking music video. One of the first appearances from Don Cheadle was in this cheese dick 80s music video. He's dancing around. He's like this. He's in this silly outfit, bobbing and fucking weaving. It's funny as fuck. I was like, hey, Don, some of your finest work. It was funny. Nah, you know what it is, dude? Like, I didn't intend to be some ambassador for white rappers, because I don't even like that shit where people are like, top 5 white rappers. I'm like, ugh.
I saw you address that on your, I saw you address that on your Instagram, and you go into it, you're like, I don't know. What if I said top 5 Mexican rappers, Puerto Rican?
Yeah, it would be fucking weird and awkward. The conversation would get fucking strange.
And then
Who's
I think
someone Chinese rappers. I'm like, what?
I think then someone asked you, someone asked Diabolic, they go, would you go gay for $5,000? And he goes, no, that's not nearly enough money. Absolutely not.
No way. It's not nearly enough. Fucking, no, it's like, see, I traveled in those fucking activist circles for a lot of years with Technique, dude, for like fucking 10 years. Dude, I can't count the amount of like community outreach shit we did. And I mean, I never asked for credit for it. I didn't even post about it. You know, like we did fucking free shows all over the goddamn world for everything from fucking, you know, like immigration reform to fucking police brutality, everything. We did fucking everything. And I got a real close glimpse into the world of the leftists, which is fucking disgusting because it's fucking bullshit. That whole shit is fucking crazy to me. And a guy like Kweli, right? Kweli grew up pretty well. His life was not hard. So for me to sit here and listen to him berate people all day, it's hard for me to stomach that shit because I know you better than that. I know who you are. You used to fuck the same girl as my friend Abe. For a guy who got me into the first battle, used to bang this fucking Jewish chick from Brooklyn that Kweli used to bang, and she used to complain about how he had stinky breath. He's a fucking private school fucking dork. Fucking my homie Post's mom was his dad's secretary at CW Post University.
I know CW Post. That's funny.